Her alarm goes off and she gets up to watch the morning news. Doesn't work no more but tells a lot of stories about her youth. Drinks more lately, ain't got pills in many different colors too. Morning light is showing, she moves the chair to look out at her view.
Ferdinand Marcos of Batak, province of Norte, having been elected and proclaimed as President of the Philippines, hereby solemnly swear that I will faithfully and conscientiously fulfill the duties of President of the Philippines, preserve and defend its Constitution, execute its laws, do justice to every man, and myself to the service of the nation, so help me God.
Of troops. They cannot succeed without the support of the people. We cannot succeed without the support of our people. I am happy to see that the reaction throughout the country is favorable. I have received hundreds and hundreds of telegrams from all corners of the Philippines congratulating you and incidentally me for the proclamation of martial law, for the sudden cessation of anarchy and of criminality throughout the land, and of the re-establishment of an atmosphere of brotherhood amongst Filipinos. Now everybody seems concerned about his neighbor. Now everybody seems to be involved in the destiny not only of himself but of the entire country and of the entire nation. And this is what we have been hoping and praying for. I repeat, it is necessary to reform in order to attain the victory that we seek. It is necessary that we attain all the objectives that we have set. These objectives are: we must give to the poorest man whatever is his due. The rich man must now understand that this is a new kind of society. We will protect his rights. For whether he is rich or poor, he has rights. And those rights are as sacrosanct as the right of the military to dignity and to a reputation and a standard of proficiency to which he is entitled. Thus it is important that we must tell everybody, and I ask you to do this, to go out to your assignments, to your respective areas, to your units, to your area of operations, and tell everyone that every citizen in this country has rights, and those rights will be protected, whether he is a businessman or a mere janitor, whether he is a tenant or a landowner. Those rights will be protected, but we will treat each other as brothers. The landlord must now learn to live with the tenant, and the tenant must be given his due. I am proclaiming today land reform throughout the entire Philippines. We must allow the tenant to now acquire ownership ultimately of his land, but he must engage in cooperative effort. We cannot just keep on subdividing land. We must cooperate. We must now establish cooperatives of production, cooperatives in irrigation, cooperatives in rural electricity, cooperatives in consumption, cooperatives in everything that we do, because we are a small nation and most of our people are small people. At the same time, we will protect business. We will protect investment, but not to the extent that business and investment will dominate the entire scene, dominate the Philippines, and that they shall dictate and rule the country. No. The business section need no fear whatsoever. As I have said, the soldier is not only courageous, he is not only humble, he is fair, because that is his standard of not only living, but his standard for performance. That is his very life, that is his very meaning of his being a soldier. Fairness and justice. And so you tell each and everybody that they can expect fairness, justice. We will reform our society so we will weed out the corrupt in our government. We must do so, because a corrupt government is an insult to the entire country. And it encourages rebellion, it encourages revolution. There can be no success, no victory, no achievement if we do not alter and change our political institutions so as to be able to remove the sterile and obstruct the attainment of the ideal that we have. The armed forces of the Philippines have set up a standard of their own. I know that you are engaged in cleaning up your own ranks. You are policing your own ranks. The Secretary of National Defense, the Chief of Staff have recommended, the major service commanders have recommended that we now establish a military commission to investigate, try and punish all personnel of the armed forces of the Philippines who may not perform in accordance with the exact standards, exacting standards of proficiency of the professional soldier. Because of this, never happened in the past. I repeat, I have complete faith and
to lay down the heavy burden and responsibility of leadership in the free world, or for that matter, of the world. For by the inexorable decision of destiny, you have become the trustee of our civilization, and you cannot abandon this role, no matter what may be. How can America speak to Asia? I would say, America, speak from the depths of your own heart. Speak in the language of Jefferson. Speak with the wisdom of a Lincoln. Speak with the compassion of Roosevelt, with the vision of Kennedy, and the ringing challenge of President Johnson, when he said, "The peace that I seek is not a peace that means the absence of armed hostilities. For where men hunger and hate, there can be no peace. The peace I seek is a peace of conciliation, a conciliation of the communist states with their non-communist neighbors, between the rich nations and the poor, between the great and the small. This is the peace I seek. Can it come about? In all my heart, I think it can. We have far to go. We have far to journey." Addressed in these accents, America, Asia will listen to you. And confronted with this challenge, Asia will respond.
When I went to Arlington Cemetery, it was raining, and I was reminded of it being many days you'd stay in a foxhole, the water up to your knees, and wondering how many boys of my age when I was a soldier were now in foxholes doing the same thing, eating and sleeping in the foxhole. And then, as I saluted the tomb of the unknown, one thought entered my mind. There, but for the grace of God, lies I. When I went to the U.S. Congress, I kept telling myself, these are hard-headed politicians. You make your appeal, but make it short and make it an objective, dispassionate appeal. But it didn't come out that way. I did feel it was a little emotional. But the most painful feeling that I had is that which I felt when I talked to my former comrades in the war. For they scoffed at our medals and laughed at our scars. Especially one particular scar that I bear with pride. With as much pride as any decoration that has been granted me. A scar from a wound I received in attempting to save the life of an American comrade. Where is your American friend now? They asked me. He is dead, and with him have died all our dreams. Yes, he was my American comrade. And he was a blood brother, for he fought in my native land. We were surrounded, as often we were. We had to break out. And in breaking out, I saw him fall and try to crawl to safety. I returned to him only to fall beside him. The blood of Filipino and American mingling in Philippine soil. As I cradled him in my arms towards a foxhole, he said, I die. But go tell them back home, you who will live. Tell them that I die with only one regret, and that is that America has failed us. And the Filipino that I was, as if I could retrieve him with my words from the hands of death, answered him with confidence. As I said, no, America does not forget, and America will not fail. Many years have passed since then. And time should have muted the tone of confidence, and the tyranny of circumstance should have eroded this memory. But today, I still say, as I have said to my people, no, America is just. America does not forget. America will not fail us. Thank you.
People don't stay the same, you know. I just hope their stories will still be told.